Commander, good to see you.
You've been with CSEC a while. Have you seen much action?
Well, not as much as you, but yeah, I've seen some interesting things.
I'll bet you have. Anything in particular that stands out?
I remember this Solarian geneticist I was sent to investigate. That case was a bit disturbing.
What happened? Why were you investigating them?
I was tasked with tracking black market trade on the Citadel. Most of it harmless, nothing I needed to pursue. But during the course of my investigation, I noticed an increase in the trade of body parts, organs mostly. We usually get a few of those, but not the numbers I was seeing. We weren't sure if there was a new black market lab or if some freak was harvesting organs from citizens.
You've seen this before on the Citadel?
Every so often, some lab sells unwanted parts through the black market, but they're not as bad as the psychos. I remember this one L-Corps diplomat we caught in my first year on the job. He was hacking people up and selling their organs. Had the station in a bit of a panic. But this case wasn't that clear-cut. Turns out there was more going on than we first realized.
So how did you figure out what was happening?
First, we got a hold of a sample and ran DNA tests. The weird thing was, the match led us to a Turian who was still alive and was very convinced he'd never lost his liver. After a bit of digging, I discovered this Turian worked briefly for Dr. Salion, the geneticist. So I went to his lab hoping to find evidence of cloned organ development, but there was nothing. No Solarian hearts, no Turian livers, not one Krogan testicle.
You're kidding, right? Why would anyone want Krogan testicles?
Some Krogan believe that testicle transplants can increase their virility, counteract the effects of the genophage. It doesn't work, but that doesn't stop them from buying. They'll pay up to 10,000 credits each. That's 40,000 for a full set. Somebody's making a killing out there.
What did you do about the geneticist?
I brought in some of his employees for interrogation, to see if I could get them to talk. While I was interviewing one of them, I came across something suspicious.
You mean threatened? Was that really necessary?
Maybe, maybe not. Either way, it paid off. One of my detainees started bleeding profusely during the interview. We offered to patch him up and he got frantic, freaked out. I ordered a full exam to find out what was going on. Our medics found incisions all over his body, some of them fresh. That was our big break. These people weren't just Dr. Salion's employees. They were test tubes. Walking, living test tubes.
He was growing parts inside these people?
Exactly. He cloned their organs right inside their own bodies. Then he harvested them and sold them off. Most of the victims were poor. He'd pay them each a small percentage of the sales, but only if the organs were good. Sometimes an organ wouldn't grow properly, so he'd just leave it in them. Most of them were a mess, but only on the inside, hidden so nobody could see it.
I hope he got what he deserved.
That's the worst part. We never caught him.
Why not? What the hell happened?
He ran, blew his lab, grabbed some of his employees, and headed for the nearest space dock. By the time I found out, his ship was already leaving. He threatened to kill his hostages if we tried to stop him.
But you went after him anyway, right?
I ordered Citadel Defense to shoot him down, but CSEC headquarters countermanded my order. They were worried about the hostages, worried about civilian casualties if the ship was destroyed so close to the Citadel. I told them those hostages were dead anyway. He just used them to make more organs. But they wouldn't listen.
No wonder you hated it there. Those idiots just let him fly away.
Yes, they did. I went to Palin and told him what I thought of him and his policies. He said if I didn't like it, I could quit. Well, I almost did. All they had to do was disable that ship, stop him from running. Maybe the hostages die, maybe they don't, but at least we stopped the bastard responsible for it all.
A few casualties is a small price to pay to stop someone like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, those hostages might be wishing they died by now anyway. Just wish I could have stopped him. That's all.
Do you have any idea what happened to Dr. Salion?
I sent out feelers from time to time, hoping to find something. I thought I'd found him a while back. He changed ships and changed his name to Dr. Hart, his idea of a joke, I guess. I told the military, but they weren't convinced it was him. I got the transponder frequency for his new ship, but I just can't get anyone to check it out.
I'll check out the coordinates when I get a chance.
I was hoping you'd say that. But Commander, take me with you when you go. If it's Salion, I want to be there when you find him.
Гарус рассказал вам о встрече с доктором-генетиком Салионом. Он жалеет, что дал ему уйти в прошлый раз и надеется, что вам удастся отыскать его и предать правосудию. Гарус сообщил вам координаты последнего местонахождения доктора Салиона. Отправляйтесь в систему Гершеля в пределе Кеплера. Турианцы. Биология. Ядро Палавина, родной планеты турианцев, имеет низкое содержание металлов, поэтому планета обладает слабым магнитным полем, в результате чего большая часть радиации попадает в атмосферу. Чтобы бороться с этим, большинство жизненных форм на Палавине приобрело в результате эволюции защитный металлический экзоскелет. Плотная кожа турианцев напоминает пластины, делает менее восприимчивыми к слабой радиации длительного действия, но не является природной броней. Их толстая кожа не способна отражать пули и направленные сгустки энергии. Несмотря на то, что жизненные формы на Палавине имеют углеродную структуру и используют для дыхания кислород, основу жизни на планете составляют декстроаминокислоты. Таким образом, турианцы оказываются в очевидном меньшинстве. Кроме них, единственной известной разумной расой для обеспечения жизнедеятельности организма, которой необходим декстропротеин, являются кварианцы. Пища землян, азари и саларианцев. Эволюция последних происходила в биосфере, основу которой составляют левоаминокислоты. В лучшем случае просто пройдет через организм турианца, не оказывая никакого питательного действия. В худшем случае вызовет аллергическую реакцию, способную стать причиной летального исхода, если не оказать своевременную медицинскую помощь.
Commander, good to see you.
Commander?
What's your opinion on the last mission?
You mean the Rachni, right? They were dangerous, Commander. They proved that 2,000 years ago. I think it was a mistake to let them go. But that wasn't my call to make. It was yours. You know, you really should talk to Tisoni about her mom. She has to be hurting. Just saying, Commander.
Do you have a few minutes to talk one-on-one?
Sure. I was just watching some mail from home.
Oh, before I go, we saw Caden in a news vid about the Normandy. He's cute. Later, sis.
Let's pretend this never happened.
Are you interested in the Lieutenant, Chief?
Of course not, sir. Fraternization is against regulations. What's up? You didn't come by to eavesdrop on family mail.
Chief, should you be that casual with your commanding officer?
Sorry, Commander. Too much in the family mindset. My sisters and I have always been close. With Dad on duty so much, I had to help Mom raise them.
Did Did your father serve with the fleet?
Yeah, took any crap posting he could get that offered space time. You know what? He worked his ass off trying to get recognized, but he never made it above serviceman 3rd class. He was real proud when I made chief. First thing he did was salute.
What about your mother? You haven't mentioned her.
You must know what military wives are like. Strong because they have to be, able to raise kids while dad's away on a 6-month cruise. She has a degree in planetary geology. She and dad both wanted to see new worlds. She gave up her career to raise us, though.
You have more than one sister? Sounds like a big family.
Yeah, I'm the oldest, then Abby, then Lynn. Sarah's the youngest. She's still in high school. With 4 girls, Dad used to say he felt more outnumbered at home than on maneuvers.
Where did you grow up?
All over. We transferred a half a dozen times before I finished grade school. You go where personnel command sends you, right? I guess that's why I'm so tight with my sisters. We'd have to leave all our friends every 2 or 3 years.
After helping raise them, your sisters still talk to you? Amazing.
Things were tense between Sarah and me for a while. Then we bonded.
Sounds like a story. Feel like sharing?
Sarah got herself a boyfriend who wanted to go faster than she did, Mike. I didn't think he was a bad kid, just pushy. Lynn would send me these worried vid mails, and I'd tell her to relax.
Where were you when this was going on?
I was on active duty. Sarah's graduating high school this year. This was only a couple of years back. They were on Amaterasu. At the time, I was assigned to Chernobog. Same cluster, but a dozen Hellwire away. Close enough to talk regularly, too far to make it back in an emergency. I couldn't afford a fast packet flight.
Sounds like that situation didn't last.
Mike thought they'd go for a romantic walk in the woods, because he figured it was past time they did the deed. She levered Mike face first into a tree and left. Didn't have a scratch on her. Good thing Mom and Dad had us all learn some kind of self-defense. I took emergency leave and walked Sarah to school for a few days.
Why didn't you tell the police?
She said it wouldn't solve the real problem, and she and Mike would both become household names. It was a small colony. I said it was her call to make, that we should let her do it her way. Mom was pretty pissed about that.
You said all of your sisters learned self-defense?
Lynn did pistol practice, but didn't like it. She's kinda nervous. Sarah took Aikido. Abby decided to learn the sword. She always was a little weird. Likes big skirts and tops you have to tie her into. They do great things to her figure, though.
So, what did you learn?
One of Dad's friends taught me Marine hand to hand.
You said all of your sisters learned self-defense?
Lynn did pistol practice, but didn't like it. She's kinda nervous. Sarah took Aikido. Abby decided to learn the sword. She always was a little weird. Likes big skirts and tops you have to tie her into. They do great things to her figure, though.
Did anything happen while you were home?
My last day out, Mike was waiting for us. Sarah had told her friends, so everyone at school knew what he did. He wasn't happy. I wanted to snap him in half, but Sarah gave me this look, this let me handle it, I need to do this alone look. She kept her cool, God bless her, as he screamed in her face. She just let him vent. Then he tried to punch her. I swear, she just flowed around him. Next thing I knew, he's face down on the sidewalk and there's blood everywhere.
She cracked him in the face. Good.
When he swung, she wasn't there anymore, and he fell. She helped him stop the bleeding and had me call an ambulance. She told the paramedics he fell. Before they took him to the hospital, Mike touched Sarah's arm. I thought he was gonna end up on the ground again. but he hung his head, whispered, "I'm sorry," and started crying. And she hugged him. The Williams women are a decisive bunch, Commander. We do things when we're ready. Not before, not after.
Where was your father during this? Wasn't your family stationed near him?
Dad always wanted to serve in space, but he wanted us to have real ground under our feet. He'd say, space is beautiful, but you can't raise a family there. I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. All times I've enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both with those that loved me and alone. For always roaming with a hungry heart, much have I seen and known, cities of men and manners, climates, councils, governments.
I never thought I'd hear you reciting poetry.
Just because I can drill you between the eyes at 100 meters doesn't mean I can't like sensitive stuff. Just don't spread it around. Ulysses was my dad's favorite poem. Every time he shipped out, he recorded me reading it. He had a dozen versions when he retired.
Does he still like it?
I sure hope so. I read it to his grave every time I go home. Dad passed on a few years back. He's probably still watching, though.
He's not a zombie, is he?
You know, from heaven, wherever that is. That's not a problem with you, is it? That I believe in God?
You start preaching in the CIC, we'll have a problem.
Commander, I'm not some kind of zealot. I believe in God. What everyone else believes is their business. I should get back to my duties. Didn't mean to take up so much of your time.
Do you have a few minutes to talk one-on-one?
I should get back to my duties, Skipper. Rifles don't maintain themselves. Not yet, anyway. I wouldn't mind talking more later, though.
Dismissed, Chief.
Sir.
Альянс систем. Военная доктрина. Вооруженные силы Альянса имеют большой вес в галактике. Во время войны первого контакта с турианцами им сильно недоставало опыта. Пренебрежительное отношение турианцев сменилось уважением после освобождения Шанси, в ходе которого земляне поразили их новейшими технологиями и тактикой. Человеческое стремление понять и перенять современные технологии ведения космической войны вызвало большое удивление рас Совета. В то же время, успокоив их, сотни лет они использовали проверенные технологии и тактику и чувствовали себя как за каменной стеной. Совет считает Альянс спящим великаном. Менее 3% землян изъявляют желание служить в войсках Совета. Это меньше, чем в случае с любой другой расой. Подготовки солдат Альянса не сравнится с профессионализмом турианцев и опытом Азали. Сильными сторонами их тактики являются огневая поддержка, гибкость и скорость. Они восполняют численный недостаток применением современных технических средств ВИ, дроны, артиллерия, средства ведения электронной войны и делают уклон в сторону мобильности и личной инициативы. Доктрина землян не подразумевает отражение и совершение массированных атак, как в случае с турианцами и кроганами. Вместо этого они проникают за пределы вражеских укреплений и совершают атаки в глубоком тылу, уничтожая источники снабжения, штабы и силы поддержки, перекрывая кислород противнику. В обороне земляне реагируют быстро и используют принцип Сунь-Цзы. Тот, кто пытается защитить все, не защищает ничего. Гарнизоны предназначены скорее для разведки, чем для ведения боя. Обо всех вторжениях сообщают дроны, не открывая при этом огня. Средства массовой информации Альянса часто подвергают критике вооруженные силы землян за то, что войска, размещенные в колониях, имеют чисто символическое значение, поэтому другие расы смогут с легкостью преодолеть их сопротивление. Тем не менее, крупные флотилии, базирующиеся в районах таких фазовых врат, как станция Арктур, способны достичь любой колонии, находящейся в их зоне ответственности за несколько часов. В случае атаки они отвечают массированным ударом.
What do you want, Shepard?
Why did you become a mercenary?
Lots of reasons.
Such as?
Such as, I needed to get out of our system. I needed to eat. I needed to survive.
Why not stay and help your people?
I tried to help. That's why I had to leave.
What happened?
I was betrayed. I was head of a small tribe. We were trying to restore order after the war, but the other tribes were against us. They followed Jared, one of the few warlords who survived the war with the Turians. But he was old, and so were his ideas. He wanted to continue the war. He wanted us to fight. Turians, Salarians, each other. It didn't matter who, as long as we were fighting.
What did you want?
I just wanted Jared to shut up, to stop his ranting. I wanted him to stop leading the tribes astray. But he couldn't understand how much things had changed. We didn't have the numbers to go to war. Even if we did, the genophage made sure we couldn't replenish our numbers fast enough. I told them all to forget about war. We needed to focus on breeding, at least for one generation. And for a while, we were getting through. Some of the tribes started coming around.
I take it the warlord didn't appreciate that.
No, he didn't. He arranged a crush with the tribes, a meeting on neutral ground. He wanted to talk. We met at the Hollows, near the graves of our ancestors. The skulls of our dead laid bare to remind us where we come from, and where we all go. It's as sacred as any Krogan place can be. Violence is forbidden.
It sounds like a trap to me. You must have suspected as much.
I did. But when your father invites you to a crush, well, there are some laws that even we hold sacred.
Jared was your father?
He was, until that day. We talked, but we didn't get anywhere. When it was clear that I wouldn't join him, he gave the signal. His men leapt from the graves of our ancestors like Krogan undead. The few that were loyal to me died quickly. I escaped with my life, but not before I sank my dagger deep into my father's chest. That is why I left, and that's why I'll never go back.
Are your people really dying?
We're sure not getting any stronger. We're too spread out. None of us are interested in staying in our own system.
Lots of species have left their homes and prospered.
But they go to colonize new worlds. We're not settlers. We're warriors. We want to fight. So we leave. Hire ourselves out. And most of us never go back.
You must have family other than your father. Don't you miss them?
You trying to make me cry, Shepard? I've got some unfinished business with my family, but that's all.
What kind of business?
Before I left, I made an oath to my father's father. I swore to recover my family's battle armor. It was taken from him after the uprising.
What's so important about this armor?
It's a relic. Useless, really. But it was worn by 5 generations of my family before the war. It's rightfully mine. Originally, it was taken by the Turian military. We weren't allowed armor or weapons after the war. Now, it's in the hands of Taun Actus, a Turian scum who collects relics from the war. He's made millions selling Krogan artifacts that were stolen from my people. He's got several bases where he stores his goods, all fortified and guarded. I just don't know which base has my family's armor.
Just tell me where to start looking.
I'll upload the data to your nav system. But Commander, I want to be there when you find him.
What can you tell me about the genophage?
Ask the Salarians if you want details. They made it. All I know, it makes breeding nearly impossible. Thousands die in stillbirth, and most never get that far. Every Krogan is infected, every one, and no one's rushing to find a cure.
Why don't the Krogan try to find a cure?
When was the last time you saw a Krogan scientist? You ask a Krogan, would he rather find a cure for the genophage or fight for credits? He'll choose fighting every time. It's just who we are, Shepard. I can't change that. Nobody can.
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
Рекс. Фамильная броня. Поговорив с Рексом, вы узнали, что он ищет церемониальную броню, принадлежавшую его семье. Броню забрали турианцы во время восстаний Кроганов. В настоящий момент она принадлежит перекупщику по имени Таун Актус. Найдите турианца, похитившего фамильную броню Рекса. Он скрывается где-то в скоплении Ро Аргуса. Кроганы. Культура. Суровые условия родной планеты Кроганов оказали на них не только физическое, но и психологическое влияние. Кроганам свойственны эгоизм, черствость и грубость. Они высоко ценят физическую силу и способность рассчитывать на себя, поэтому предательство их не удивляет и не задевает. Слабые и бескорыстные индивидуумы живут недолго. В их культуре понятие «я должен быть номер один» в порядке вещей. После подавления восстаний Кроганов, само понятие их лидерства было поставлено под сомнение. Когда-то полководцы командовали армиями, способными ставить на колени целые солнечные системы и получали господство в этих системах. Теперь же редкий лидер может подчинить себе более 1000 воинов. Большинство Кроганов не доверяют никому и подчиняются только себе. Такое обособленное отношение вызвано отчасти глубоким чувством фатализма и отчаяния. Применение генофага, в результате которого численность населения Кроганов резко сократилась, имело глубочайшие социальные последствия. Они не просто раздражены тем, что вся галактика настроена против них. Кроганы пессимистично настроены насчет шансов на выживание их расы. Выжившие Кроганы не видят смысла строить будущее, у них его попросту нет. Кроганы руководствуются принципом «убивай, грабь и заботься только о себе, ибо скоро мы все умрем».
Something I can do for you, Commander.
Carry on, Adams.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Shepard, I'm glad you're here.
Good to see you smiling again, so to speak.
I'm sleeping much better now. I guess I'm getting used to how quiet your ship is. I still think a lot about my pilgrimage, though. I know Saren's our top priority, but with all the worlds we go to, I was hoping to find something to bring back to the flotilla.
What are you hoping to find?
Usually, people bring back something like a derelict ship we can use for salvage. But I need something bigger. There's a lot expected of me.
What's so special about you?
It's my father. He's the senior member of the Admiralty Board. He's one of only 5 people who can overrule the decisions of the Conclave for the good of the migrant fleet. My father is responsible for the lives of 17 million people. Our entire race is in his hands, and I'm his only child.
So are you some kind of heir to the Quarian throne or something?
No, it doesn't work that way. My father's position isn't hereditary. I'll probably never serve on the Admiralty Board myself. Officially, I'm just the same as any other citizen. But it doesn't work that way in practice. People have always treated me differently because of who my father is.
You must get all kinds of special privileges.
I probably had it easier than most growing up. But it's not all good. People like my father have enemies, and they're not above using me to get to him.
Why didn't you tell me this before?
I guess I'm just tired of people judging me because of who my father is. Everyone's waiting for me to do something great on my pilgrimage, something that will forever change our lives for the better. If I don't, it's like I failed, and that reflects badly on both me and my father.
The work you're doing here is more important than anything any Quarian has ever done before.
Yes, I know. But you have to understand Quarian culture. We're a very insular society. The events beyond the flotilla don't much matter to the average citizen. Our greatest dream is that one day we'll return to our homeworld and drive out the geth. But even if we stop Saren, that's not going to happen. There's still millions of geth behind the veil. Until they're gone, our exile will continue.
What would you need to bring back to make everyone happy?
Something that would help us better understand the geth. They've changed significantly since the exile. They've continued to evolve. We've done our best to study them, but it's not easy. They're very reclusive. Until recently, they never went beyond the borders of the Veil. And all the geth we run into now are under Saren's control. We'd need to find geth operating on their own, independently. But I don't want this to get in the way of our mission, Shepard. First, we stop Saren. Then I'll worry about my own problems.
What was your father like?
It wasn't easy growing up as the daughter of one of the Admiralty. Even before he joined the board, he was a prominent figure. People looked to him for leadership. He had to set an example, and he expected the same of his daughter. Plus, he was pretty strict, a military man through and through. He never allowed me to settle for anything less than excellence. As a kid, I sometimes felt like he was pushing me too hard. But now I'm old enough to appreciate what he taught me. The world doesn't owe us anything. If we want something in life, we have to earn it.
Sounds like a tough upbringing. You don't resent your father at all?
Like I said, it wasn't easy. My father's not the kind of person you bond with. And he wasn't around all that much. Too busy. People counted on him, and he took his duties seriously. Even when he was around, he always seemed a bit distant, like his mind was always somewhere else. Come to think of it, I can't ever remember seeing him smile. Not once. It's like he was always weighed down by all that responsibility. I mean, I know he cares about me, but he never really showed it, not in the usual way. I guess the best thing I can say about my father is that I respect him.
Where was your mother in all this?
Mother was around, but she always seemed to kind of blend into the background. Almost like she was overshadowed by my father. He tends to do that to people. She passed on about 5 years ago. Some airborne virus that swept through the fleet. Happens sometimes when the filters start to break down. I think my father took it pretty hard. After she was gone, he became even more focused on his work. I think that was his way of dealing with the grief.
I want to talk about something else.
Like what?
I want to know more about the Geth.
I doubt I can tell you anything you don't already know. It's been almost 3 centuries since they drove my people into exile. All I know is the story of their origins. What they were when we created them, and how they turned on us.
Interesting.
The Geth were originally created to serve as an automated manual labor force. Initially, their intelligence was as limited as any VI. Over time, we made small modifications to their programming to allow them to perform more varied and complex tasks, bringing them closer and closer to true AI status.
How come the Council didn't step in and stop you?
This wasn't true AI research. We may have been skirting the bounds of the law, but we never did anything that was actually illegal. The changes were so insignificant, so gradual, that we were able to control them. Or so we thought. But one thing we underestimated was the power of the neural network. 1 million Geth thinking simultaneously created an inherently unstable matrix.
So, the Geth share brain power?
Many of the Geth's logic systems were designed to work in concert with other nearby Geth. Basically, the more of them you have in a group, the smarter they are.
So there's some sort of group consciousness?
No, nothing like that. They cannot share sensory data or information. Their programming cannot handle that much simultaneous input. Each Geth maintains an individual awareness and identity. The neural network only operates on a process-based level. It's basically the synthetic equivalent of a subconscious. But when they're in close proximity, they can coordinate low-level functional processes, freeing up more capacity for original or independent thought.
That doesn't make any sense.
I'm probably oversimplifying. The Geth are incredibly advanced and complex creations. All you need to know is that they get smarter when they gather in large numbers. As we built more and more Geth, their effective intelligence became more sophisticated, more abstract. One day, a Geth began to ask its Quarian overseer questions about the nature of its existence. Am I alive? Why am I here? What is my purpose? As you can imagine, this caused a near panic among my people.
What did you do?
It was inevitable the newly sentient Geth would rebel against their situation. We knew they would rise up against us, so we acted first. A general order went out across all Quarian-controlled systems to permanently deactivate all Geth. The Geth responded to this order violently.
You didn't really think they'd just let you destroy them without a fight, did you?
The hope was that most of the Geth would still be little more than machines, incapable of organized resistance. But they had progressed much further than anyone anticipated. The war was long and bloody. Millions upon millions of Quarians died at their hands. In the end, we were forced to flee our own homeworld. We feared the Geth would pursue us, but they never came beyond the veil. Now we drift through space, exiles searching for a way to reclaim what was once ours.
It's hard to feel sorry for you. Your ancestors tried to wipe out another species.
We made a mistake when we created the Geth in the first place. But we did not make a mistake when we went to war against them. If we had not acted, they would have wiped us out. They're a synthetic life form. They have no use for organics. None. Why do you think they cut themselves off from the rest of the galaxy? Why do you think they've killed every organic being who's ever tried to contact them?
They didn't kill Saren.
What does that tell you? The Geth are not innocent victims in all this. They're the enemy. They want to destroy us. Not just the Quarians. All organic life. That's why they've joined up with Saren. And that's why we have to stop him.
I should go.
See you later.
Кварианцы – религия. Древние кварианцы поклонялись своим предкам. Даже после того, как кварианцы предпочли вере атеизм, они продолжали обращаться к мудрости древних. По мере того, как развивались технологии, они неизбежно пришли к выводу, что личности и знания древних лучше хранить в виде компьютерных программ, эмулирующих виртуальный интеллект. Эти записи стали хранилищем мудрости и знаний. Они хранились в центральной базе данных, доступ к которой посредством экстранета мог получить любой. Они не пытались выдать это за некую форму бессмертия. Как и другие виртуальные эмуляторы интеллекта, электронные копии их предков не были по-настоящему разумными. Это не считалось серьезной проблемой. Разум вполне мог заменяться математическими данными. Кварианцы начали обширные исследования по созданию искусственного интеллекта, чтобы выйти за пределы смертного существования и вдохнуть в записи их предков настоящую жизнь. К сожалению, созданные ими существа не захотели принять законы существования кварианцев. Захватив власть, геты уничтожили базу данных предков. За те века, которые прошли с того момента, как им пришлось покинуть их родную планету, большинство кварианцев вернулось к религии в той или иной ее форме. Многие считают, что восстание гетов и уничтожение предков кварианцев не что иное, как кара за дерзость, которую они проявили, отвергнув старые традиции и сотворив себе кумиров. Другие придерживаются более философских взглядов, соглашаясь с тем, что вели себя дерзко, но не считая восстания гетов сверхъестественным вмешательством. Они склоняются к мнению, что сами действия кварианцев стали причиной их участи. В любом случае, каждый кварианец полагает, что их собственное высокомерие стоило им родной планеты. Кварианцы, судебная система и оборона. Несмотря на то, что кварианцы, как и любое планетарное демократическое государство, подчиняются законам, их правоохранительные и судебные органы уникальны. После того, как они покинули родную планету, на борту кораблей флота оказалось очень небольшое количество полицейских относительно многомиллионного гражданского населения. Поэтому функции органов правопорядка взяла на себя космическая пехота. В настоящее время космопехи кварианцев проходят специальное обучение, схожее с обучением полицейских, сохраняя навыки ведения боя и оставаясь при этом в подчинении вооруженных сил. Попав под стражу, совершивший преступление попадает к капитану корабля, который принимает решение о наказании. Совет корабля может давать рекомендации, но абсолютная власть в дисциплинарных вопросах принадлежит капитану. Наказания обычно достаточно мягкие, чаще всего это дополнительные работы по обслуживанию корабля, либо какая-то грязная работа. Закоренелых рецидивистов случайно оставляют на ближайшей обитаемой планете. Подобная практика часто становится предметом разногласий между кварианцами и обитателями систем, через которые проходит их флот. Чаще всего у капитанов нет другого выбора, учитывая дефицит пространства и ресурсов, содержание заключенных является непозволительной роскошью. Много лет назад значительная часть кварианских грузовых судов несла вооружение и использовалась в качестве каперов. Гражданские суда до сих пор достаточно хорошо вооружены, поэтому пираты редко осмеливаются их атаковать. Несмотря на то, что в вооруженных силах кварианцев произошли изменения, их флот по-прежнему насчитывает несколько сотен военных судов для защиты флотилии, состоящей из десятков тысяч кораблей. Военные корабли осуществляют регулярное патрулирование и следуют четким указаниям. Если намерение приближающегося судна выяснить не удается, они открывают огонь на поражение.
Anything you need, Commander?
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Killing Saren's, what was Benezi anyway? Second in command? Advisor? Anyway, it should set him back a bit. I'm sure Dr. Tassoni's hurting though. Poor kid. Having to kill her own mom.
Any opinion on the Rachni?
Off the record? If we had the option, I'd as soon have left it to the Council. We weren't out here during the Rachni War. I'm not sure we have any business getting involved.
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
Well, they know about the stonewalling you've had from the Council.
And what do they think?
They're on your side. They're pissed about the resistance we're getting, especially from our side. I'll have a better handle on all of it when my head stops hurting. Another L2 flare-up.
Ever thought about going back under the knife? Maybe get an upgrade?
No thanks, Commander. One slip and you can't remember your own name. The L2s spike higher anyway. My abilities would drop with pain-free L3s. That'd be a cold day before I turn myself over to a Canadic subsidiary.
Got a story there, Olenko?
You know the records about the biotic trading out on Jump Zero? They're all classified, because the Alliance made mistakes. After first contact, Kinetics was set up to track Element Zero exposures and develop implants for humans. Once we had an embassy on the Citadel, Kinetics could bring in experts instead of taking it slow.
Is there some reason we couldn't learn it on our own?
They didn't know where to start. Hell, it took a couple of years to even link biotics and EZO. Forget trying to get the kids to move stuff. They had trouble just helping them not break their own limbs. And their choice of teachers didn't help much.
The only experts would have to be aliens.
Dead on. Turians, actually. That's why Kinetics kept it a secret. They were afraid of what people back home would think, asking the Turians for help when we just fought a war with them.
The Asari would have been more acceptable than the Turians.
Yes, but the company didn't go through the Citadel. It would have made Earth look weak, so they discreetly hired some Turian mercenaries.
Get your knuckles rapped a few times, Lieutenant?
Yeah, you could say that. Our instructor was a Turian by the name of Commander Vernus. A real hard-ass. He basically had a free pass to break us if it would turn out a decent biotic. Kind of spiraled from there, Commander.
You're a hell of a biotic, though. You must have done something right.
Well, I got to where I am because I took initiative. Good or bad, I own that. Pretty much despite kinetics. Anyway, this is ancient stuff. I walked it off a long time ago. I should get back to my duties, Commander. We're here to make history, not rehash it.
We'll talk another time, Lieutenant.
Commander?
Биотики. Легко ли быть биотиком? Биотики обладают необычными способностями, но в их жизни присутствуют также небольшие неудобства. Самой явной проблемой является проблема питания. Создание эффекта массы резко ускоряет обмен веществ, поэтому у биотиков пробуждается зверский аппетит. Стандартный рацион бойца Альянса включает 3000 калорий в день. Для биотиков он составляет 4500, плюс фляжка с энергетическим напитком для быстрого восстановления сил после тяжелого боя. Другой проблемой является электрический заряд. Двигатели космических кораблей должны проходить процедуру разрядки. То же самое касается биотиков. Когда биотики касаются металлических предметов, зачастую возникают небольшие статические разряды. К несчастью, биотикам среди людей тоже часто приходится сталкиваться с подозрениями и гонениями, вызванными ошибочным мнением о том, что биотики могут читать мысли и управлять разумом других. Для людей, которые по философским или религиозным соображениям отвергают генную инженерию и кибернетику, биотики являются символом потери человеческого начала. Единственными организациями, в которых биотикам всегда рады, являются военные. Здесь обладателям этих способностей предлагаются широкие возможности карьерного роста.
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
If you are here to talk about Benezia's death, you need not bother. She brought it upon herself.
Don't pretend it doesn't bother you. She was your mother.
She was, but she was not. I prefer to remember Benezia as she used to be, before she was corrupted by Sovereign's power.
The best of your mother lives on in you. Her determination, her intelligence, her strength.
That is kind of you to say. I appreciate your concern, but I am fine. Benezia chose her path, just as I have chosen mine. I am with you until the end, Shepard.
Maybe we could pick up where we left off. You were telling me about your interest in the Protheans.
Actually, I think I was talking about my interest in you, and making a fool of myself in the process. As I said, I am not used to dealing with people, especially humans. I did not really know much about your species when we first met, Shepard. I found it hard to take humanity seriously. Your kind always seemed so rushed and high-strung.
Has your opinion changed at all?
It has. I have been watching you and your crew. It has taught me a lot about your species. You humans are creatures of action. You pursue your goals with an almost indomitable determination. It is an admirable trait, but also an intimidating one.
You're scared of us?
Unfortunately, the rest of the galaxy sees humanity as something of a bully. You run over anyone in your path to get what you want. It is up to people like you to change their minds, Shepard.
Why me?
There is a reason the Council chose you to become a Spectre. They saw something special in you. The best of what humanity has to offer. I looked into your history. I know what you did on Torfin. I cannot even imagine how horrible that must have been, but you did what had to be done.
Why are you so interested in me?
I wanted to know more about you. To understand what made you into the man you are. There is something compelling about you, Shepard.
You're interested in me because of my visions. You just want to know more about the Protheans.
I admit, your connection to the Protheans had something to do with my initial interest, but it has grown beyond that. You intrigue me, Shepard, but I was not sure if it was appropriate to act on my feelings. I thought there might already be a relationship between you and Chief Williams.
How could you and I have a relationship? We're not even the same species.
Asari and humans are physiologically compatible in most ways, Commander. Of course, a relationship must involve more than mere physical contact. There must also be an emotional and spiritual connection between us. Our species may be different, but there are many things we could share. But none of this matters if you are already involved in a serious relationship with Chief Williams.
Williams and I are just friends, nothing more.
My mistake, then. I am not as adept at understanding human relationships as I thought. But what about us, Shepard? Is there a mutual attraction, or was I wrong about that too?
No, you were right. There is something between us.
I knew it, and I knew you felt it too. But does this not seem rather strange? Why do I feel so close to you? We have only known each other a short time. We are from two different species. We have almost nothing in common. This makes no sense.
Saren wants both of us dead. That's something.
That is not the most romantic reason, is it? You make it all sound so dangerous.
Don't tell me a little danger puts you off.
This is all a bit overwhelming. I am not used to this. You. I need some time.
Take all the time you need, Liara. I'll be here.
Thank you, Shepard. Let's just talk about something else for now.
Do you know why Benezia joined up with Saren?
Benezia was swept up in events beyond her control and lost herself. She fell under the spell of indoctrination and became part of the very thing she wanted to stop. But I will remember, and honor how she lived, not how she died. My mother was strong, kind, and beautiful, and now she is gone.
Are you going to be okay?
You are kind to ask, Shepard. I do miss her, and I grieve for what happened to her. But I will not let my grief interfere with what we are trying to accomplish.
I'd like to know more about the Asari.
We were the first species to discover the Citadel. We were instrumental in forming the Council, and we always strive to be the voice of peaceful cooperation in galactic disputes. My people believe we are all part of a single galactic community. Each species contributes something to the greater whole. Although we seek to understand other species, it seems few of them seek to understand us. The galaxy is filled with rumors and misinformation about my people.
Like what?
Most of the inaccuracies are centered around our mating rituals. My species is monogendered. Male and female have no real meaning for us. We still require a partner to reproduce. This second parent, however, may be of any species and any gender.
I don't understand. Your species can mate with anyone?
Mating is not quite the proper term, not as you understand it. Physical contact may or may not be involved, but it is not an essential element of the union. The true connection is mental. Our physiology allows us to meld with other beings. We can touch the very depths of their minds. We explore the genetic memory of their species. We share the most basic elements of their individual and racial identities. We then pass these traits on to our daughters. It is how we learn to grow as a species and how we develop a greater understanding of other races.
What happens to your partner after the union?
Every relationship is different. Some unions are a single encounter with both parents parting ways afterwards. Others can be more long-term. Sometimes an Asari and her partner will stay together for many decades.
Do you know who Matriarch Benezia chose as her partner?
She rarely spoke of her partner. Though I know my father, if you want to use that term, was another Asari.
I thought you always needed another species to serve as one of the parents.
Think about it, Shepard. If we were not able to mate with our own species, we would have died out long before we ever mastered spaceflight and left our homeworld. Union with our own kind is no longer common, not for the purposes of reproduction. Most Asari believe it weakens our species. Asari daughters inherit racial traits from the father species. If both parents are Asari, then nothing has been gained, or so conventional wisdom would hold. I am what is sometimes called a pureblood. Though no Asari would ever be cruel enough to say the word to my face, it is a great insult among my people. It is possible Benezia's partner was embarrassed by their union. She may have been too ashamed to publicly acknowledge me as her offspring.
Why agree to the union if she didn't want any children?
I cannot answer that. This is all speculation on my part. It is possible she wanted to be part of my life, but something happened to her before she had the chance. Benezia never spoke of her partner. Whatever happened, it caused her too much pain to dwell on it. She raised me by herself, though that is not uncommon. Many Asari raise their children alone, particularly if the father species is short-lived. Often the partner will pass on long before the child reaches maturity.
I should go.
Goodbye, Shepard.
Азари, религия. Основной религией Азари является пантеистическое течение Сиари, что в переводе примерно означает «все является частью одного целого». Ее приверженцы придерживаются следующих основных принципов. Вселенная имеет сознание. Каждое живое существо во Вселенной является частью большего целого. Смерть представляет собой слияние духовной энергии с сознанием Вселенной. Сиаристы не верят в реинкарнацию как таковую, но считают, что духовная энергия, присоединенная к сознанию Вселенной, может впоследствии возродиться в другой смертной оболочке. Течение Сиари приобрело популярность после того, как Азари покинули их родную планету и обнаружили свою способность сливаться практически с любой формой жизни. Жрицы Сиари считают, что должны способствовать объединению разрозненных фрагментов сознания Вселенной. До развития пантеистического течения Сиари религии Азари были столь же разнообразны, как их политические убеждения. До нашего времени дожило монотеистическое течение, предметом поклонения которого является богиня Атамы. Подобно самим Азари, богиня проходит 3 стадии развития – дева, дама и матриарх.
Boy, am I glad to be off of Novaria. I don't know which was worse, the cold or the corporations. One will freeze your balls off, the other will sell them out from under you. With all due respect, Commander.
I have to go.
All right, see ya.
Yes, Commander?
Carry on, Presley.
Yes, sir.
Good timing, Commander. We got a transmission coming in from the Citadel. Top priority clearance.
Is it the ambassador?
It's not his signature. I think it's from the Council. I'll patch it through to the comm room.
Commander Shepard, we've received information that may be critical to your mission against Saren.
What kind of information?
We've received an urgent message from one of our infiltration regiments in the Traverse.
You mean spies?
Spectres tend to attract attention, Commander, but they are only one arm of the Council. Special task groups are often a better option for monitoring developing situations.
We currently have several infiltration units scattered throughout the border regions of Citadel space. This particular unit was gathering intel on Saren.
What did they find?
Unfortunately, the message we received was little more than static. The infiltration team must be in a situation where they can't set up proper interstellar communications. But the message was sent on a channel reserved for mission-critical communications. Whatever they were trying to tell us, we know it was important. Considering your interest in Saren, we thought you might want to investigate this. Find out what happened to our team. The signal originated from the planet Vermaiре.
I'll look into it.
The Council prefers not to become involved in the specifics of Spectre activities. We only want you to be aware of all your options, including Vermaiре. Good luck, Commander Shepard. We will keep you advised if we learn anything else.
Вам сообщили, что саларианская разведгруппа на Вермайре располагает какой-то информацией о Сарене. Связь была плохой. У Совета есть опасения, что группа в опасности. Отправляйтесь на Вермайр и найдите отряд саларианцев. Сарен ищет древний артефакт эпохи исчезновения протеан. Канал видения, переданный в ваш разум маяком на Иден Прайм, позволяют вам сделать вывод, что канал – это оружие, способное уничтожить все живое в галактике. Сарена нужно остановить. Вам нужно обследовать Ферос, Наверию, скопление Тау Артемиды и Вермайр, чтобы добраться до канала раньше, чем это сделает Сарен.
There are between 2 and 400 billion stars in the galaxy, and less than 1% of them have ever been visited or had their systems properly surveyed. Humanity's early expansion...
Вермайр – планета с буйной растительностью, расположенная на границе Оптического траверса. Обширные моря и благоприятная орбитальная позиция стали причиной образования широкой экваториальной полосы с тропическим климатом. Колонизации препятствует лишь неблагоприятная политическая ситуация в регионе. Совет Цитадели неоднократно предпринимал попытки договориться о колонизации Вермайра с преступными группировками и диктаторскими государствами, расположенными в близлежащих системах термина. Все они потерпели неудачу из-за частой смены власти оппонентов. Совет Цитадели пришел к выводу, что колонизация Вермайра невозможна без смены политической обстановки. Власти систем термина вряд ли сами смогут колонизировать Вермайр. Большинство из них не располагает достаточными ресурсами для поддержания поселения на дикой планете, так как не считают выгодным создавать что-либо самим, предпочитая воровать у соседей. Саларианцы – группа особого реагирования. Агенты саларианской разведки объединены в организацию под названием «Группа особого реагирования». Агенты ГОР работают независимыми группами, выполняя опасные задания, такие как контртеррористические операции, разведка на территории противника, операции по ликвидации и саботаж. ГОР осуществляет упреждающие действия, направленные на пресечение опасных тенденций до того, как они примут серьезный характер. В системах термина, где царит беззаконие, постоянно действует около десятка групп, работающих под прикрытием. Агенты сеют вражду между различными группировками. Некоторые гражданские аналитики отмечают также неожиданные смерти ключевых фигур, представляющих угрозу. Агенты ГОР известны по всей галактике как проницательные и безжалостные исполнители. Они готовы на все, чтобы выполнить задание. Их не остановят ни смерть гражданских, ни уничтожение собственного отряда. Во многом они похожи на спектров, работающих на Совет. Совсем недавно несколько отрядов ГОР были направлены Саларианским союзом в системы термина и Оптический траверс. Их задачей является выяснение причин сообщений об активности гетов за пределами вуали Персея.